Hey guys, and welcome back to the Big Shots Basketball Podcast. Today I'm back here with Zach, and we're going to be discussing some of the preseason kind of games and what we expect from some of these teams, like any of them really. So, glad to have Zach here again.
Thanks for having me back again, Aaron. I'm excited about this show. As you know, the preseason is... I'm not too big on the preseason because of the fact that you're really not playing, the starting fives and the main veterans and the best players on the team. But we have seen a lot, especially from people like the rookies, for instance, and especially Zion Williamson, who has been the town of the talk. He has been the main focus this preseason. Everyone's looking and seeing his stats and his numbers, and they've been pretty spectacular so far.
They have, and Zion's been very good. I think the big thing is just going to be seeing him do this in the regular season. That's what I have to see from him. We talked about that last night because we were sitting there eating, and the game was actually on across the place. They sat us next to the baseball game, but you couldn't see it actually. I could, though. I could see some of the game. It was really far away. But he's going to have to continue to develop, obviously.
Exactly. Right.
But I think if he carries into this, like into the regular season like this, that Pelicans team is going to be dangerous.
The Pelicans team actually is going to be really good. They seem like they acquired a lot of pieces over the offseason. They got a couple veteran pieces. Drew Holiday's obviously that leader of that team. And I think the way Zion's going to fit, I think they're going to play him a lot at the 4.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to do a lot of pick and roll. And he's definitely going to get most of his points from the paint. It's going to be a lot of lobs. We're going to see a lot of dunks, a lot of layups. But from what we've seen, Zion's field goal percentage is obviously going to be really good this season. I think his field goal percentage is going to be really good because of the fact that he's not going to be taking a whole lot of jump shots. But as you can see, he did take a 3 last game. He did take a shot behind 15 feet, over 15 feet, and obviously you can see that Zion, it seems like he's going to be really good fitting in that system.
Well, he hit some threes in college too, so I mean, I don't expect him to just completely take the 3-point shot out of his game, but obviously he's not going to be a 35-40% shooter, maybe 25.
Right.
He's not going to be taking more than probably 2 attempts per game, if that. So I think it's really just going to be kind of that core group just growing together, which is another person I want to talk about, Lonzo Ball. He actually said that he's glad he's in New Orleans because things just weren't working out in LA.
I think he needed that fresh start. There was a lot of pressure coming around
for sure.
Lonzo when him coming in as the second pick of the draft. His father basically put a target on his back, and everybody was looking for Lonzo to be better than how he performed. And he just piggybacking off what you said, he said that he didn't play up to par, up to his performance, and I think he's gonna this fresh start is gonna be good for Lonzo. His jump shot's looking better.
It is.
He's starting to shoot from his face now instead of from his chest, and he seems like he's gonna be pretty good. Before he was shooting from his chest, his stomach. Now he's shooting a little higher, getting it up a little higher, and seems like his shot's getting more consistent. He's gonna be a pretty good player this year.
Yeah, we've seen him hit that step back 3. I don't remember who he hit it on, but it was a good shot. It looked good. His jump shot form is starting to look a lot better, but you still can kind of see some of them old mechanics sometimes slip in, but that just takes time. Obviously, it's hard to fully change your form just, throughout the offseason, but he'll get it.
Yeah, and him being able to shoot with J.J. Redick is also helping as well.
One of the best shooters in the league, for sure. So, I think, and Brandon Ingram looked good too, handling the ball, really getting to kind of play some of his isolation ball, do his thing. I think he's going to be good too, which I've always liked Ingram, but I'm not sure how well his style is going to translate, like in a couple of years, but I think he will be a consistent player. We might not ever see him live up to, an all-star level, but he will be a solid player on that team for a while.
I actually feel like Lonzo's going to be, not Lonzo, but Brandon Ingram. I feel like Brandon Ingram's actually going to be one of the main scoring options in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Just because the way his skill set is set up. I think he's going to be getting the ball more. He's going to be taking more shots. Just because I feel like he's, out of that group, he's definitely going to be one of the better scorers. So,
yeah, I agree. Then we had the Bucks and the Mavericks game.
Giannis is still looking just as dominant as ever.
I don't think we expected that to change. We saw Luka pull up from the logo.
Yeah, Luka looking a little bit more confident. Kristaps looking pretty good coming out. Man, those two together, they're going to be pretty dangerous this season.
They are. And I think it's so great to have them on that team right after Dirk leaves. It's like the Mavericks lost Dirk. Obviously, he hasn't been the Dirk of past here recently because, he's getting up there in age. But he finally retired. And now they have Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis, two foreign guys, just like Dirk. Obviously, neither one of them are from Germany. Dirk's from Germany, right? And obviously, they're not from the same country, but they are both foreign guys. And I think they're going to be good, very good in the future.
Yeah. I feel like it's basically just another remix of, Steve Nash and Dirk together, when they were younger. But I think the difference between these two, Luka's handles, I think is better. Luka has a more diverse handle, and then Porzingis also has a better handle than what Dirk had. But we'll see. They're pretty young, but I think together they're gonna be a pretty great young duo.
That's what I'm saying. As this team continues to grow, they're just gonna get nothing but better and better. And I think in the future, obviously both of those guys are really young. Luka's just coming off his rookie season, and Porzingis is maybe 4 or 5 years into his career.
He hasn't played for, I think, 2 seasons?
Yeah, he missed 2 seasons.
Yeah. So he hasn't had much playing time. But I think he'll be getting back in a groove here this season, and hopefully they get it together.
I agree. So something I just thought about and I want to bring up is kind of how whenever they first drafted Porzingis, he got booed at draft night. Everybody was like, "What is this pick?" And I'm glad you pulled up this Wizards game because there's another guy I want to talk about on that Wizards team that kind of had the same thing. Roy Hachimura. They were kind of like, who is this guy? Why are we drafting him? But I think he's going to be good. He's actually one of my sleepers for, Rookie of the Year. He's going to be a lot better than I think he was expected to be.
Roy Hachimura is going to be a really good role player. He fits really good with that Washington offense. He's going to fit in good with that team. He's got pretty good size. He got a jump shot.
Yep.
He's going to be a pretty good piece, I feel like.
And I like the fact that, he's starting off in Washington where he's going to get touches. He's going to get time to develop without much pressure because, nobody's really expecting much from Washington. Because, obviously there's the trade talks with Bradley Beal, but the Wizards GM is still saying, oh, Beal's not going anywhere. But I think we all kind of know he's probably going to get traded at some point, which I guess we'll talk about that later in the season whenever it kind of gets closer to that time or whenever just a trade pops up out of nowhere. But then there's the Washington and the Knicks game. And I didn't actually get a chance to watch this game or much on it.
It's not really a game that's, big on our radar, but Bradley Beal still looks pretty good. The Knicks, there's not much you can really say about them. Really, I'm just wanting to see how RJ Barrett is going to develop.
I don't know if it was that game or the game before, but they played RJ 39 minutes in a preseason game.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm telling you, RJ Barrett is the person that they're really going to try to develop him. He's who they're going to center a lot of things around because of the fact that, third pick of the first round, he's got some pressure on him, so he's going to have to step up to the plate and really develop. He's going to have to. But I think the way his skill set is offensively, I feel like he's built for the league.
Oh, yeah.
He's pretty good size. He can definitely shoot. He's going to have to really develop, though, versatile going to the left and right. He's going to have to develop that a little bit more. But I think he'll be fine. He's going to have to get a little bit more muscle on him, get a little stronger. But that all comes with time in the league.
Yeah.
You're obviously going to build some weight. So
and let's not forget, he was the number 1 person going into college, number 1 player. It wasn't Zion. Zion was just a lot more flashy and hyped up because we've never seen that
He's
before.
A freak of nature.
Yeah.
So you just don't see athleticism and with someone that big.
Yeah,
you just don't see that. So that's like a once in a lifetime. This is a once in a lifetime person, once in a generation person. So
I don't really know much else about that Washington and Knicks game. I didn't get to watch
You
it.
saw Ben Simmons hit a 3.
Yep, Ben Simmons finally hit a 3.
Like, it's not now. It wasn't that big because of the fact that the clock was running down.
He didn't have it. He really didn't have much of a choice.
He kind of had to shoot, but I'm just glad that he's actually shooting the ball. So, what do you think is going to be his shooting percentage from the 3 this year? And how many threes do you think he's going to make?
I think he's going to attempt about 3 to 4 threes a game because obviously the look is going to be there. He said this year, if it's there, he's taking it. And I think he's going to shoot about 30-35%. I don't see him making, 3 to 4 threes a night on a consistent basis. I see him, kind of the thing that really held him and Embiid back together was the fact that Embiid is a big center who has some of the best post moves in the league, and he can't get down there and do it because Ben Simmons is kind of clogging the lane because nobody was gonna step out on Ben Simmons. They were gonna be standing 4 or 5 feet back. And then if Joel gets the ball, he can get double teamed because if he passes it out to Simmons, he ain't going to shoot it.
Exactly.
So, but now he does have that jump shot, and I think that's where some of his shots are going to come from. But I think at the beginning of the season, teams are still going to kind of dare him to take that shot, just to kind of break his confidence. Because if he misses like 1 or 2 in a game, he's probably just going to go right back to doing the same thing.
That's true. That's definitely true. I feel like the 76ers, if Ben Simmons gets some type of consistent jump shot, they're going to the finals.
Yeah.
If he gets some type of consistent jump shot, they're going to the finals.
In the East for sure. I can see that.
Definitely. But I feel like Ben Simmons now, just seeing him shoot the ball with some type of confidence makes the 76ers' future very hopeful. And I feel like if he gets this consistent jump shot, because Ben Simmons hasn't struggled with anything else. Plus, with him being able to shoot now is going to help out with the fact that who are they going to run the offense through at the end of the game?
Yep.
Because, there's been a lot of questions about who's going to close. And a lot of people think
last year it was Jimmy Butler.
Exactly, and he's gone now. So a lot of people are saying, or a lot of people think, what I feel is going to be, they're going to run it through Joel Embiid. But it would be good if Ben Simmons could control the ball and then kind of get it to Embiid, in the post.
Yeah.
They help a little bit. Then Ben Simmons can either shoot, pump fake, and then they just get it together. I think it'll be great, though. I think it's going to be really good once he gets a jumper.
I agree. And then there's always I have a question for you. If this year, if they don't go to the finals, what do the 76ers do? Do they say, okay, this isn't working, we got to get rid of Joel or Ben and get somebody else in here? Or do they just kind of go back at it, just go back at it again?
I think they should just go back at it again. The team that they have is built to win. It's a great team that's built to win. Defensively, they're not going to have any problems. The only thing they're really going to have to work out with is who's going to end the game. And Ben Simmons really just has to get a jump shot. I think they're going to be fine. Bench-wise, I think their bench is pretty good. If they got another piece on the bench or anything like that, that would definitely help. Yeah. So, they lost a shooter in J.J. Redick. Getting another shooter would definitely help.
Yeah.
But I feel like they don't really have to tweak much, man. They don't have to tweak much because they're going to be a really good team, and they're going to be really tough to match up with just because of the fact that that's going to be a really big team.
They're going to be big.
They're a really tall team. They got other than Josh Richardson, everybody else is above 6'7" or above 6'8".
Yeah, and a quote I want to bring up I actually saw from Ben Simmons earlier today was they asked him about what their goal was, and he said to be the best defensive team in the league. So that seems to be their main focus.
Which is definitely possible. It is extremely possible because of the fact that since the league is so guard-driven, and if you run a lot of those players, a lot of those guards off the three-point line, it's going to be tough for them to finish inside. There's going to be 2 7-footers sitting there, and we know how good of a defender Joel Embiid is. Yeah. And the only person that Joel Embiid struggled with offensively was Al Horford, and now he's on that team. So now Ben Simmons is actually a premier defender. He's pretty good himself. So,
and I think Al Horford was a great pickup for that team because he's a good veteran. He really can kind of help lead that team that's kind of young.
He's going to be the vocal. He's going to be the voice in the locker room. He's going to be that veteran in the locker room. He's going to because they had a problem with Joel Embiid wasn't very serious
That's true.
But now seeing, when he broke down after that Bucks series, I think that's definitely going to mature him a lot. That experience matured him a lot. And so having Hal Horford there is just going to speed that process up even more. So I think they'll be ready, man. They're gonna be ready this season.
I do too. And Joel had mentioned actually Jimmy Butler and how he wishes he was still there because he was kind of that one who kind of forced him to be serious. Because Jimmy Butler don't play, he never has. So
it's never been a problem. Never been a problem for Jimmy.
The Brooklyn Nets and the Los Angeles Lakers. So many people are making such a big deal out of that game. It's a preseason game. It's really not that big of a deal.
That's kind of how I feel about all of this. Really, in the preseason, the one things that we focus on is, how everyone looks. Do people look rusty? Do they look in shape? That's really what the preseason is for, to kind of get people's legs moving, get people going, kind of see how, test the waters with their offense, test the waters with their defense. That's really what the preseason is for. So I'm not really focused on who wins or loses. Seeing the stats and things, that's good. But really, once the season starts, we'll really be able to see what's really going to happen. Yeah, but the one thing that has got me concerned is the Kyrie injury.
The injury.
I didn't, which I haven't known much about that, but the facial fracture, because when he was guarding Rondo, I think Rondo kind of bumped his face, and he immediately came out the game.
Because it is preseason. You don't want to have any chance of really, really hurting yourself. So if you feel like, okay, this isn't good, get yourself off the floor.
That's
I
true.
agree.
But I know that if Kyrie is going to have injury issues, if he's going to be injury prone, that Nets team is going to hurt. Their future is going to be hurt because Kyrie and Kevin Durant are the center of their future right now.
Yeah.
So if they want to win, they're both going to have to be healthy. And we already know, we don't know what Kevin Durant's going to be like coming off that injury. So if Kyrie also is going to have injury problems, I don't know, man. The Nets are going to have some serious issues they're going to have to deal with.
Well, which Kevin Durant actually told the Nets fans, do not expect to see me this year. So I'm glad he did that, because there was kind of that thing where doctors are saying Kevin Durant could possibly be back for the playoffs. And Kevin Durant kind of shut all that down, like, I'm not coming back. And he shouldn't, because that's the reason why he's in the situation that he's in now, is because he came back too early, and then he aggravated something that he, was already dealing with. So I think it's good that he told him he wasn't coming back.
The Nets organization doesn't need to put any pressure on him to come back this season.
And I don't think they are.
They don't. But me neither. And I feel like, and Kyrie also seeing that it felt like him taking up for Kevin Durant basically helped out a lot with the fact that now Kevin Durant doesn't have any pressure to come back this season, because they're not really going to be that big on winning, but they're going to be, big on building chemistry. I think that's what their main focus is going to be this season.
Yeah, and so many people were making such a big deal out of the Lakers losing that game. And looking at it now, LeBron and Anthony Davis both played 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And they both had 6 points. LeBron actually had a good stat line for playing 12 minutes. He had 6 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal.
It's preseason. Nobody's really gonna like play. They'll play like the most of the veteran players are gonna play is like the first half.
Yeah,
that's the most they're gonna play. So this is preseason. Now the one spectacular thing I can say is how, watching Steph Curry drop 40 points in 25 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know. And Steph Curry is gonna be one of the main people in the MVP vote this year, because this is going to be all NBA Steph Curry. Because Steph Curry that's unreal, man, to score 40 points like that in 25 minutes.
I think he's most definitely going to be on the All NBA first team.
Easy. He's
going to be in the MVP race.
Easy.
Now, one thing I actually forgot about with Knicks was Marcus Morris, hitting somebody in the head with the ball. I don't even remember who it was at this point, but
I don't know how there can be a beef between two teams who aren't gonna make the playoffs
in the preseason.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's not much to that.
They're competing to be the worst team in the East.
But Marcus Morris has always been someone that's been a little.
He's an enforcer.
Yeah,
and I think he's kind of trying to show like the toughness in that team, but it's the preseason. Like, there was no need for that, and he got ejected for it.
Yeah.
So he kind of deserves
him being
that.
a veteran. He's got to know that that's not a situation you should put yourself in.
Yeah.
Before the season starts, that's not a good look.
At least he did it in the preseason and didn't do it like in the actual season.
That's true.
Get kicked out of an actual game.
That's true.
Now, the Rockets and the Raptors have played each other twice. First game, the Raptors won, 134 to 129. The second game, the Rockets won. And I think the first game, Harden had 34 points, Westbrook had 13, and they had 6 assists and 7 assists. So I think they look good together, but Westbrook didn't play very long in that game. He played 20 minutes.
They're testing the waters. I know D'Antoni is going to try to basically stagger their minutes.
Yeah.
They're going to try to stagger those 2 minutes. So, him not playing, Russell Westbrook not playing a game and James Harden, their minutes, them being on, one person being on and one person being off the court. I think they're going to stagger their minutes a lot to kind of get a feel of how they're going to operate.
Yeah. And both games they've played, the Rockets won the second game. But both games they've played, they've combined for over 40 points.
Yeah.
And
scoring, they're going to score. Them together, they're going to score high volumes easily.
For sure.
They're going to score high volumes easily. So.
And I think I saw a lot of people saying after that first game, like, oh, the Rockets lost to a beat up Raptors team that doesn't even have Kawhi anymore. And I'm like, they were up by like 10 to 15 points because I remember like waking up and I was literally laying down and they were playing the game like 5 o'clock in the morning. I was like getting up, getting ready for class. And like I kept on getting this notification and it was like showing me the scores and I was like, dang, the Rockets are winning by a lot. And then Harden or Westbrook, neither one played much of the second half at all. So, and then the Raptors came back and won. So it was kind of like people are making a big deal out of this preseason game because the Rockets lost to the Raptors.
Which there's always that, but again, like I said earlier, it's preseason.
There's going to be those people that are like, oh, they lost to this team. And there's going to be the people who like actually think about it and they're like, oh, it's the preseason. Like, it doesn't matter.
It's just exhibition games, really.
Yeah, like none of this matters.
Yeah.
So I think that, honestly, you can't really make a big deal out of any of these games.
Not really. You can just kind of see. It's good to see, how everyone's operating, what people are going to do offensively. You're kind of just seeing how everyone's going to play. They're basically just testing the waters. Just a bunch of exhibition games to kind of figure out which way they want to go. Scheme-wise, So,
and then the Clippers have played a couple games. Yeah. Obviously, Kawhi has not played much at all. He played like 10 minutes in one of the games.
Now
he did good in the 10 minutes.
The one thing I can't say about Kawhi is Kawhi had 6 assists.
Yeah,
which is actually something that's a little more significant because of the fact that Kawhi is gonna have to add playmaking to his game in order for them to really be. Really get to championship caliber because they're already championship caliber. But if Kawhi adds playmaking, it's going to make them an even tougher team because of the fact that that's where the offense is going to be centered around. It's going to be centered around Kawhi.
It definitely is.
So if he can add playmaking to his already great offensive skill set, they're going to be even more dangerous on offense. And one thing that he did say in his interview was the fact that they're still trying to figure out what their defensive scheme is going to be, who's going to guard who, and how they're going to play on the defensive end.
And I think that's just because they have so many options. Like, they have so many good defenders on that team. It's just like, okay, if we're playing the Lakers, is Kawhi going to guard LeBron and exert a lot of his energy guarding LeBron?
Which I don't think that Kawhi is going to guard LeBron James because of the fact that if they're going to run the offense through Kawhi's probably not going to play a whole bunch of defense on LeBron.
Until the playoffs.
That's exerting a lot of that's going to exert a lot of energy. But it could also work either way. They can interchange everybody because Paul George can guard LeBron, but either way, they're going to have a formidable defender for LeBron.
I think in the playoffs we might even see Kawhi step down and guard Anthony Davis.
Yeah, that actually might,
because that's possible for him.
I'd see that as a thing. It would be a good. That's a scheme they would use to kind of keep him off the block. They're gonna try to keep him off the block and keep him around the perimeter so he doesn't get too comfortable. Because if he gets comfortable in the paint, it's 30-piece easy.
Yeah, and I think Kawhi is somebody who really can just guard pretty much any position. He has a great perimeter
Except
defender.
the 5.
Yeah,
But he can guard almost every position.
He's a very efficient defender. He can guard the perimeter. Probably might even be the best perimeter defender in the league. But he can also go down low, and he's still strong enough to guard you in the post.
Strength, big hands, length. That's all you need is a great defender. And lateral quickness. He's got all that, man. So
yeah, and then so we had the Heat. Obviously, Tyler Hero.
That is my sleeper. That is my sleeper for Rookie of the Year. Tyler Hero is. I love Tyler Hero's game just because of the fact that Tyler Hero can shoot. He can create his own shot. He can shoot off the dribble. Who
does he kind of remind you of?
I can't say someone right now whose game he really reminds me of.
He kind of reminds me. I'm not gonna say a lot, but a little bit of Luka. Kind of what we've seen him do. He can create his own shot off the dribble. He's hitting those same step backs like Luka was.
The only thing is he's going to be more of like a wing.
Yeah.
He kind of has a little bit of a Gordon Hayward type situation. He can do a lot. He's not the quickest guy.
He's not.
But he can score and he's pretty fundamentally sound. So he kind of reminds me of like a Gordon Hayward type player.
So another team we haven't talked about, our hometown team, the Grizzlies. I went to one of the games.
And how was that experience?
It was nice. It was a preseason game against a team that was from overseas. So they weren't, it wasn't really a close game, but it was good to kind of see some of the players come out and do their thing. One thing I was really interested by was the fact that they were kind of playing that small ball lineup with Valanciunas not playing that game. So they had Jaren Jackson at the 5, Brandon Clark at the 4, and it was good. And at the beginning of the game, you could tell that it was kind of like this was their first game. They were a little rusty. Jaren Jackson had a few turnovers. He really wasn't doing that great, but Ja was very good in that game in the minutes he played. He pretty much. You give him the ball and he went and got a bucket. But he also, you can tell they just need to play a little longer together. They just have to kind of get used to each other, get used to, the lanes they're going to run, the way the offense is going to flow. But I think in the future, that team's going to be good, especially with Jaren Jackson and Ja.
So what's your projection, seeing him play, in real life, in real time? What's your projection for Ja Morant this season?
You talking about like stats or?
Yeah, stats wise, what is your projection for Ja Morant? Do you think he's Rookie of the Year? You think he's gonna
be in that race? He's gonna be in that race for Rookie of the Year. Probably either he's gonna get it or he's gonna not get it because of Zion. Because obviously with Zion, I think it's just so hard to say like Ja's gonna be Rookie of the Year with what we've seen Zion do. Because obviously Zion has outperformed Ja in the preseason, but it's the preseason, and Ja hasn't played much.
Ja will have the ball more in his hand, though.
I do agree, but I think Ja is probably going to average somewhere between 17, 18 points, and he's a very good passer. He had 10 assists in the last game they played against like the New Zealand Breakers, I think is who it was. He had 4 points and 10 assists, and I think in the other game he had 6 assists. He's a very good passer. And I think that's going to be part of his game that we really get to see because the way the Grizzlies are running this offense. They said they want to speed it up, kind of like Rockets-esque. They said they're going to shoot more threes. They're going to kind of run the floor. And I think they have the right pieces to do that. So I think Ja probably going to be like 8 assists, 17 points, and a couple of rebounds, maybe a steal. And I think he's going to be in that Rookie of the Year talks for sure. So, another team that we haven't really talked about, the Portland Trail Blazers. Have you had a chance to look at any of their stuff, watching their games?
Haven't seen much from them. All I can really say about them is they're probably, inserting Hassan Whiteside into the offense. He's a formidable defender in the paint, rim protector. So, haven't seen much from them. There's not a whole lot going on over there with them. They're basically just inserting new pieces.
Yeah, and they're not really playing Whiteside, CJ, or Dame much. They all three played like 15 something minutes in their last game that they lost to the Nuggets. But I think it was Dame. He said about Nasir Little, he was like, we're just going to let his game do the talking. So I think they're kind of expecting a lot from him. And they had another player, I think it was Simmons, that they were kind of expecting a lot from. Like they said he's going to be really good. And he had 10 points in 21 minutes in their last game. So
now they'll need that depth. And they're putting pressure on guys who are more role players or coming off the bench because that depth is what they need. That's what their problem really lied going into that Warriors series was they didn't have any depth and nobody else could really score. So they're going to need other pieces to contribute more so that they can extend their playoff run.
So do you think this team is better than last year's?
Actually, yes, I do. I think this team is better than last year's. With the acquire of Kent Bazemore, I feel like he's a better piece than Evan Turner, in my opinion, just because he's a better defender.
Yeah.
And I feel like he can play both sides. And Hassan Whiteside, I feel like, is better than Myers Leonard as well. He had some problems over in Miami. They really cut his minutes down. But I think at some point we were saying Hassan Whiteside was a top big man. At one point, he was a top big man. So I feel like he'll be able to kind of get back to that. And I feel like they're a better team.
And in their last game against the same team that the Grizzlies played whenever I went and watched, Maccabi Haifa, I think is how it's pronounced. They're an Israeli team. They won 104-68. But that Simmons guy, he had 22 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal in 29 minutes. So he had a good game. And I think Zach Collins had 16 and 9. Scala Bicier, 9 points, 15 rebounds. And Nasir Little played 2 minutes and had 1 point.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to get their bench going. They got to get their bench going. Once they get their bench going, I think they're going to be hard to stop. They're going to be hard to mess with.
They are, and I think these like rookie pieces, these young pieces, are kind of going to be what fills in those pieces that they didn't have. They're guys that they can kind of fit into their way of playing, their mindset, and really like shape these guys to be what they need them to be. So another team is the Oklahoma City Thunder. What are you thinking about them? I think Shea is going to be good.
Shea is going to be a great player. Him getting to play under Chris Paul is going to be something that's going to be very helpful for his future because out of all the point guards in the league, playing under a Chris Paul who is a major floor general, can run an offense, knows how to pace himself, great at controlling pace. Chris Paul is a great point guard you want to play under. So I feel like he's going to learn a lot from him, and Shea is going to be a great ball player. Shea is definitely going to take over as that point guard spot once Chris Paul gets traded, which I feel like is actually going to happen. I mean, Chris Paul, definitely look like he's getting a little older. I mean, it's preseason. Again, it's just preseason, but he has 6 points and 5 turnovers. That's a lot of turnovers for a preseason game. But I think that's just him trying to
get the guys over.
Yeah, included in the offense. I think that's just all that is.
And Shea had 18 points in 23 minutes in their last game. So he had a good game.
Shea is a major piece to that future.
He was definitely a good pickup whenever they traded.
Definitely.
That was the Paul George trade, I believe.
Now, someone who I actually am excited about, who is actually going to be a contender this year, the Nuggets. And Michael Porter Jr. is looking pretty good.
He is looking good.
I think Michael Porter Jr. is going to be a major piece. If Michael Porter Jr. really can play to his caliber, oh, man, that Nuggets team is going to be pretty tough.
He is also a person we could kind of be looking at as a sleeper for that Rookie of the Year because this is technically his rookie season now. And if he stays healthy, if he really lives up to what he was originally supposed to be, he could really make a run for that Rookie of the Year.
He's looking pretty good, man. He's looking pretty good. Look at his jumper's pretty nice. Saw a couple dunks from him. He's gonna be a really good piece to that team. I think he fits in perfectly.
But I actually watched this video. He had this little brace at kind of like the bottom of his leg. And it's something that happened after his surgery. It's called a foot drop. I didn't know much about the injury. And I'm still not exactly sure what it is. But apparently it can happen. And then you have the injury and that little brace, it's like really susceptible to just break. Like the video I watched was like, don't be like surprised if he breaks like this brace all the time. Because like I don't really know what it is. It's something that was, I think, caused by his surgery, like his surgery and some kind of pressure. So it's not. I don't think it's that serious because obviously he still looked good even with it. But it is something we kind of, I guess, should look out for.
They're definitely going to ease him. I don't think that's going to be a problem because they're going to ease him into his minutes because they want him to play. He's going to play at least 25 minutes. That's what he's going to play around. He's definitely and 25, 30. He's going to play a lot. He's going to play a good amount of minutes. So they're going to look him to really make a contribution. But they're going to ease him into it at first. This is his first year playing. It's an 82-game season. It's a long season, so I don't think they're going to pressure him much and put a whole lot of time into him. So they're going to let him kind of get a role, kind of get in the rotation, and they'll figure it out. But I don't think his injury. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be fine.
I do too. So another game I actually want to go back on is the Dallas and Detroit game. Luka had 21 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals in 27 minutes. He was playing the point guard. And Kristaps in 19 minutes had 18 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. They were looking really good together. They lost the game, but, that doesn't really matter. They probably didn't play the second half, so they were looking good together. And Detroit also did pretty well in that game. Blake Griffin playing 26 minutes with 17 points. Drummond 13 points, 9 rebounds, and he also had 3 blocks. Wow. And then Luke Kennard 19 points, and Derrick Rose had 18 points. So Derrick Rose is somebody I really think is going to make a big difference.
He's a major piece.
Detroit.
He's a major piece to Detroit. They're not going to make like a huge playoff run or anything like that, but they're definitely going to improve. Hopefully they can, improve from last season and win one playoff series. Hopefully that's something that they're looking towards doing. And so adding D Rose is a really good piece because D Rose obviously is just a built scorer. He can score the ball, and that's exactly what you need. That's exactly what that team needs. They need some type of scoring. So.
And I'm so glad we're kind of getting to see. Obviously, he's not the Derrick Rose that he was whenever he won the MVP because of injuries. But I'm glad we didn't just see him like completely drop out of the league, like just become irrelevant, like he's nothing anymore. I'm glad we really get to see Derrick Rose still continue his career and still be able to be a good contributor on a team that's probably going to make the playoffs.
Well, Derrick Rose was such a physical specimen.
Yeah.
And, that injury was major to his game. And obviously we've seen, Derrick Rose's work ethic, his high motor, and his just willingness mentally to get back to the game. And we can see how obviously he's definitely adapted his game to now. And to kind of piggyback off what you're saying, it is really good to see Derrick Rose come back and still be able to contribute to a team. So hopefully they'll have a winning season, and I think that's something they'll be looking towards.
And like last year with his whole 50-point game, that was just something that was he's one of the guys in the league you just can't hate on. Like you cannot hate on Derrick Rose.
You want to see him succeed. You definitely want to see him succeed, man. He had a tough go after injury. A lot of people had a lot of doubts about Derrick Rose and him being a former MVP, but Derrick Rose, put his head to the ground, got back in the gym, and now he got signed. It was a pretty good deal. I don't remember how much he got signed for, but it was a pretty good deal, and I think he's gonna do really good things for the Pistons this year.
Yeah, and his birthday was not long ago, so happy birthday to Derrick Rose.
Okay, happy belated.
So I'm really glad that the Pistons got him. like the Pistons. They're one of my favorite teams in the East. Obviously, they picked up one of my favorite players in Blake. So
I feel like Andre Drummond has been a bit of a disappointment.
But he said he was coming in with a 3-pointer this year. Now, he did attempt one, and it looked good, but it was a terrible miss. I was actually listening to another podcast I listened to, and they were like, man, he shot that three like it was a green release. And then he missed it.
Drummond hopefully Drummond can get some improvements and make some improvements and kind of take a step forward now, because he's a really great rebounder. That's something he's been known for, and
he's good defensively.
Yes, he's a pretty good defender. He's got to take a couple steps forward now.
He has to be able to carry some of that load offensively.
Yeah.
Like, he has to come in on a nightly basis and score more than like 12 points. Because Blake Griffin does have injuries. He's obviously not. Okay, well, he is the same Blake Griffin he's always been.
He's not healthy. He's not as healthy as he used to be. He's just not as healthy. So.
But one thing I love about Blake Griffin is that he kind of realized, like, okay, I can't be this athletic specimen my entire career. You know, he has bad knees. And so it was kind of like, I have to make a change, and he did that.
He has a consistent jump shot now. It is a very consistent jump shot. They have to step out on Blake Griffin, because if not, Blake Griffin can hit a handful of threes in a game.
Yeah,
he can hit 2 or 3 at least
easily, and he's one of the best handlers as far as big man go as well.
He's a very mobile big man. He's very mobile.
He's one of those guys that can grab a board and go coast to coast.
Yeah. Now that he's just not dunking on everybody, he's kind of molded his game into
something
a more finesse.
Yeah, and he'll have a lot more longevity in his career with that. And so, I think, honestly, but let's be honest, the old Blake, that was just so fun to watch.
The old Blake was...
I still find myself every once in a while, I'll be scrolling through Facebook and some Blake Griffin highlights will show up, and now I'll sit there and watch Blake Griffin highlights for 10 minutes, just watching Blake Griffin dunk on people.
Jumping out the gym.
And them Lob City days were great. Unfortunately, they just never won a championship.
They should have. They had enough pieces. They had too many pieces, but they, of course, they got to exactly. Of course, they got to the Western Conference Finals, and
no, they didn't.
They didn't.
No,
they didn't get past the second round.
Every time they got injured, it was either Blake Griffin or Chris Paul.
Man, that team should have won. Man, that team should have won. They should have won.
I really wish they would have. Because that was whenever I really started watching basketball, was Blake Griffin's rookie year.
DeAndre Jordan, J.J. Redick.
They had the
Jamal
pieces.
Crawford,
they
Chris
had
Paul.
the pieces.
That team was a deep team, man.
It was good, and I don't know. They had the pieces. It just never really just all came together.
Yeah, they never could put it together to complete a playoff run. I don't know what it was. Because their regular season record was always good.
It was always good. And they were one of the most exciting teams to watch in the league. It was every year though. Blake Griffin either went down with an injury or Chris Paul went down with an injury. It never failed. Every year, second round, somebody went down with an injury. And then the Warriors would beat us. It was always the Warriors.
Yeah.
And then the Warriors obviously ended up becoming the team that they are now. That was back whenever I actually liked the Warriors a little bit.
Right.
I actually used to I was the Warriors are all right. I liked Steph. I liked Clay. And I was the Warriors are all right, But now, and then they got, big, and everybody started jumping on that Warriors bandwagon. And I was like, nah, I have a Steph Curry jersey, but I keep it in my closet at home. And I've not worn that thing in 4 years. Ever since they went to the finals, I stopped wearing it.
He might be MVP, man. So I know you got a little hate towards him, but you might want to pull it back out.
No, I like Steph, but you'll never catch me in his jersey again. Because if I did wear it, they'd be like, "Oh, you don't even like the Warriors." I'd be like, "You're right, I don't."
I didn't. I didn't like them for a while. I didn't like them for a long time. So
yeah,
because I felt like everybody. Well, when you looked at that team, man, they were pretty unguardable. So
they were.
There wasn't much you could do with them, and they were
the best shooting backcourt.
Their volume of 3-pointers was ridiculous. You had Steph and Clay, and they were just ridiculous 3-point shooters. And then Draymond was someone who basically was great on defense, a very vocal leader.
Yeah.
They had everything you needed. And then you would have like Andre Iguodala and Sean Livingston come in and produce. And it wasn't much you could do with that team, man. They went 73-9.
That's what I'm saying. Before Kevin Durant got there.
Before Kevin Durant got there, they went 73-9. So like that team, like historically, man, stats wise, they're probably like the best team ever.
Yeah. And that's unfortunate for LeBron.
Exactly.
As we talked about last night.
Yeah.
Just, he had a very tough competitor to play against.
Because what sucks, man, most of LeBron's losses have been to that Warriors team. He's lost to that team 4 times. He's lost that team 4 times. He's won once out of 4 times, and man, it's not much he could really do, man, with that team. Especially, and you're definitely not winning by yourself.
No.
For him to just beat them once.
That was a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's going to be what a lot of people look at LeBron, and they're like, oh, that's why he's not the greatest of all time.
Yeah, they're going to hold that against him, definitely.
And I personally believe it's unfair. But, I mean, hey, what are you going to do? Obviously, if I'm arguing about it, I think I've argued the point with somebody here before that was like, oh, LeBron's not the greatest of all time. And one of my arguments was, they were like, oh, MJ won more finals. And I was like, well, MJ didn't play against a 73-9 team.
Well, because I feel like MJ's the GOAT. I just felt like the way MJ played and how dominant he was over the entire league, not just, one conference specifically, because he didn't have to play the Warriors. But there was a lot of great teams
there
was a lot of great teams he had to beat, man. He had to beat that Lakers team. He had to beat Karl Malone and Stockton. There was a lot of teams that he had to beat.
There were a lot.
I think
of good
the competition was more spread out when he played, too.
That's what I'm saying. Unfortunately for LeBron, the competition wasn't really spread out.
Yeah.
It was that Warriors team.
He walked through the Eastern Conference 9 seasons. He got to the finals 9 straight times. So he was
amazing.
He was just, and that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous amount of time for one player. Because the thing is, and you had Kyrie and you had Kyrie and Kevin and all that stuff. He was with the Heat. With D Wade and Chris Bosh, but really LeBron was the main reason nobody in the East could get near a championship.
He caused the Raptors to just completely give up on DeMar. So.
Exactly, and once DeMar left, they went and got a chance. I felt so bad for DeMar DeRozan.
It was a good trade though.
The trade was great.
That was what really.
The trade was a great trade because they won a championship.
Yeah,
so
Masai Ujiri is one of the best GMs in the league. He put that team together and won a championship.
And that team, we did not. We expected them to be in the conversation. I didn't expect them to win.
The East playoffs were so good. The Eastern Conference playoffs were so good.
They're the best we've seen in a long time.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the teams aren't as good, but the Eastern Conference playoffs were so fun to watch.
It's the best we've seen in a long time.
And I'm hoping that's what the league is like this year, with the talent being more spread out, just like it was.
The playoffs is gonna be ridiculous.
It is.
Playoffs gonna be ridiculous, especially in the West. Oh God.
I feel like there's gonna be so many 7-game series.
There is gonna be a lot. I'm not gonna lie, man. I feel like once you get to the Western Conference Finals, man, it's gonna be a difficult road. Because it's gonna be the Lakers and Clippers, definitely, hands down. It's gonna be Lakers and Clippers, but getting there is gonna be tough.
Yeah.
Getting there is gonna be ridiculous because you're gonna have to play some great teams, man. We don't know who yet, but man, we'll see what happens.
For sure. Well, anyway, that's going to be the end of this episode. Once again, I do appreciate Zach for coming in here.
Thanks for the invite. Thanks for the invite again.
So, hope you guys all enjoy the episode. Feel free to leave your comments down below on whatever you have to say. We're always interested to read it. And thank you guys all for tuning in.